Hey, welcome to the channel. It's a comment came in last night. It's not. I'm just sort of wondering. Well, I think it's. I'm not sure if I think it's got bad intentions. Well, it's called dead naming. It's what in the transgender. What is it? Ideology? It's called dead naming. So, well, no, it's actually covered by the law. It's covered by the law, and it's a person can change. It's a Gender Recognition Act. You can change your legal gender. Remember, gender's the word that confuses everything, but it means that you can change basically your sex markers on your birth certificate. Now, whether you can actually change your sex, obviously, it's a different thing. Obviously, you can't, right? So that's your DNA. Oh, don't start talking about DNA. Shut it. You nearly lost your channel the last time. Like, I can't talk about that, sorry. You can change from M to S or S, no. S, sex, no. Fuck, I'm not doing a good job of this. You can change from male to female or female to male legally in this country, in Great Britain and most civilised countries. Civilised. That sounds condescending. Western civilization. It's debatable whether they're civilised or not, right? There's a lot of things about the US that's not civilised. If you see a lot of things, there's also a lot of things in the UK. Right, but generally Western civilization and the European Court of Human Rights is our thing, right? So in the UK we're in that, right? So you can change from male to female, female to male. So you can change your name as well. So that's different. Anyone can change their name. It costs me £53 to change my name. So I changed my name from one name to another name, and it's not unusual. A lot of people do change their names. Probably females are more likely to change their names than males because they get married and they take the husband's name, which was traditionally what they did. A lot of them don't do that now. But let's not get into that one. Right, so it's called dead naming. What's happening here now? I think that's what's happening here. I'm pretty certain it is. So my name, my current name. So what are you talking about your name? Well, you've got a name, right? So you can get into all that as well with taxation purposes and all that sort of thing. So what's the name? The name's your identity. So you can be proud of your name, or you can maybe not be proud of your name. You can maybe think your parents were stupid and they give you the wrong name. You'd go and change it yourself, which probably happened in my case. Your name goes from your ancestry as well, doesn't it? So in my case, that's where my name came from, was my ancestry. So obviously, well, not obviously, maybe not. You can trace your ancestral line a certain way, but that's like the very, very thinnest of fag papers in terms of don't say DN, don't say it, right? And that. So you change your name. And you get some smart arse like this. Now, so I'm open about what my name was, relatively open. And it's something, so I struggle with my identity. I've been watching a video about autism this morning and gender dysphoria. How this eminent psychiatrist claimed that gender dysphoria is just a symptom of autism, right? So he's got these, but that's not with the psychiatric up-to-date. And there's a paper, there's up-to-date sort of protocols, let's say. But these can change, obviously, right? So let's just go on with this. We don't have a lot of time. Let's have a look. I'll try not to put my hands up like that. I usually use a holder when I'm sitting here, but I'm going to wait out. This came in. So this could be entirely innocent, but let's zoom in probably. Got a nice comment from John, THON. Thank you, Fergus, right? Medium rare monkey. So this was this video here, and there's no mention of Fergus, right? Something was I talking about my name? My previous name, was I? It's like, and obviously the fact that I'm not trying to hide it is pretty much. So there's no mention of it in here at all. Right, so the time we got going out here. What is that? A 5G mast or something up there? You can see, what's that over there? Nothing about it at all. No, I've already checked it, I've watched it. That in your housing. Cow turds in the National Monuments, where you can see it, that one, the Stirling Castle, and you see Wallace Monument, and you see cow turds, that's basically what it's called.
over there.
I had talked.
So
I have talked about my identity.
A bit of scenery.
In videos. So I'm not exactly sure. I talked about my identity in videos. My name. So we were talking about in my case, my Scottish identity. It's Celtic, and like Ferguson it's from my dad's family. It's a matriarchal name, and it's from my dad's matriarchal side, and that's why I was called Fergus. But his middle name. So my middle name was Ferguson. His middle name was Ferguson, and my grandfather's middle name was Ferguson. So the Fergusons. So Catherine Ferguson is buried in Stirling up the Old Kirk. So I think she's my great grandmother. She's buried up there. She married Macbeth's. So the Macbeths and Fergusons married together, right? So that's where the name comes from. So I preferred Ferguson. So I dropped the Macbeth name, and that's what I did, and I did that, right? So legally, I'm not a Macbeth, right? And I keep thinking about it quite a lot, and it goes on, and I always think hum and hey about it, but I think what I've done is correct, and I'm sticking with what I've done. I find the grand scheme of things, it's a name. So it's a Scottish name. Right, that's not really what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the narcissism of this individual, right? So normally, a lot of your people who've changed, like people who've changed their gender, legally and officially. So you can change your name. That's not changing your gender, but you then go and change your. Let's just try and tell. I'll try and make let's be aware that I'm sort of trying to tell you what's happening, not whether it should or whether it shouldn't, right? I'm saying this is what's happening, and it's been happening since the Gender Recognition Act, 2004, and that's what's been happening. The numbers and the ins and outs and the reasons and all these things, we can't really go into that in this video because it'll take too long to go into all that. So it's called dead naming, and that's what they did. They're trying to do to Dr. Upton. So her, because she is now female, that's under the Gender Recognition Act. She's transitioned or whatever. The Gender Recognition Act covers that. So it covers it all. And this is what happens. And then 25 years later, some stroppy nurse starts complaining. But so in my case, I don't mind the fact that you and the whole fucking world knows that my name was Fergus, but it's not now, right? But I don't really mind, it's my choice. But what I don't like is some smart arse little shit coming on, thinking they're getting a narcissistic feed out of it. And then of course if I tackle them, they can always say, oh well, I didn't know what, I thought you were okay with people knowing that's what your name was. But my name, so really what this is about courtesy. So what you need to do with any character, we're all characters, any person that you know, find out what their name is and call them that name. It doesn't matter what it is, it's their choice, it's not your choice, it's their choice, whatever it is. And right now, my name is not Fergus, right? I might change it back, who knows, but it's not, right? So if you call me that, you're just being an idiot, because that's not my name. Find out what somebody's name is. And so it's inhumane to do what this guy's done. And I know at the end of the day, it's not the biggest problem, it doesn't really matter. It's true, it doesn't really matter, but it's annoying, right? So I think I'm going to just accept the fact that this guy is being an arse. And that's what you get on YouTube and Facebook. And I'm being an arse, but I want people to come on board with me and enjoy my videos. I don't want people coming on that don't like what I'm doing or don't like me or think it could be horrible, because other people don't like it. And I did that for a while, so now I can only just think that that's what this is about. He's dead naming me, he's been watching my other videos, and maybe I'm overreacting. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm overreacting. I think that's possible, yeah. So let's have a look. We'll see. I think we'll just leave it, because I think I am overreacting, right? I don't really care. But if that's the best you can come up with at 4 o'clock in the morning, sending somebody a message, what their dead name was, dead name, You really need to get a shake to yourself and stop being such an idiot, right? Or an arsehole, right? So here it is. Thank you, Fergus. It's funny how people know how to hurt other people, and people know that people that have went through that process, the gender dysphoria and all that, they're hurting them by saying that. That's hurtful, but it's not really hurtful. Otherwise, I wouldn't be like showing you it. I would put it in the category of just annoying, and it shows up that person for what they are. And so what do I do with that? Oh, just ignore it. But I suppose this video is about dead naming. Is that what it's about? It's called dead naming. With Jim Rare Monkey. Right, so it's called dead naming. It's what it is. Let's look it up now. So like I say, I'm not really supporting this or any other thing or the other, but I would say just you need to be respectful to people is what you need to be. No, not kind. Kind sounds a bit. Be respectful, right? Here we go. So the fact that I'm doing this shows that I just think it's like, well, you can call me Fergus if you like, but that's not what the name is. So I think the other thing you could also remember with this is if you're trying to stop people from doing this, which I'm not really that bothered about, or well, why are you doing this video then? Well, yeah, is you just if you tell somebody not to do something, which is a part of the rejection of the trans movement, is that you can't force people to believe what you believe in or what you're pushing, and that's what's happening. So dead naming is referring to a transgender non-binary person by their birth name. Another interesting thing is Fergus isn't actually my birth name. But anyway, that's it. Okay, right, it's getting a bit confusing here. It's part of my names, yeah. Now, in Scotland, there was a way of doing it where you respected. That's Ferguson was the family name that was being respected, and the decision. There's a way of doing it which I can't explain, and you'll see a lot of women, and also in the central Scotland, with Ferguson's middle name, including Nichola fucking Ferguson Sturgeon, right? So Ferguson's a Celtic name, a Scottish name. It's fairly common. It's not that common, but it's fairly common. So it's quite a lot of people with Ferguson's middle name, funnily enough, which I've noticed. Never mind that, right? So dead naming is referring to a transgender non-binary person with a birth name or other form or name after they have chosen a new chosen name, right? So it can be a deeply painful and validating experience for a trans person, potentially evoking feelings of unhappiness or trauma associated with their past life before transition, you see. So dead name is considered a form of disrespect and can constitute discrimination. So it can, as it fails to acknowledge a person's gender identity and chosen name. Why is dead? Emotional pain. So you're reflecting emotional pain on someone else. You're getting a narcissistic feed out of it, and that's what narcissists do, right? So they don't care. Invalidation, discrimination. In some cases, dead naming can be considered direct discrimination as a result of a person's protected characteristic of gender reassignment. Using dead name ignore their true identity can make them feel invalidated, disrespected, and unsafe. For many trans and non-binary, their birth name is associated with a period of unhappiness or trauma before they transitioned. How to respond if you make a mistake? Correct yourself and immediately apologise before you move on. Hear someone else down polite and subtly correct them. Be an ally. Don't ask for their dead name. So you don't ask somebody what their name was. A person's chosen name is their new name. Their former name should not be brought up by it unless they wish to share it themselves. Well, I suppose that's what I'm doing. I'm sharing it myself, you know. So don't make excuses. We're correcting a dead name instant. Do not make excuses or what the fuck. Or dismiss the impact of a mistake. Dead name is that called a transgender normal as their birth name. So they know it's offensive. What I would say is, I've got to live the life that I'm living, and if you want to make life difficult for other people, then there's something a bit weird about you, and you're a bit sad. Yesterday, people make mistakes. Yesterday, I was looking at something in Falkirk at a boot sale, and a woman, I picked this thing up, and this woman goes, "Alright, hen, it's £15. And I goes, "Oh, aye, thanks. Oh, sorry, I didn't realise you were a man, you know." And it's like, because they look at me and I've got long hair and everything, I've got breasts, you know, I've got all that shit, right? And so I suppose vaguely, I look vaguely female, and it's the voice that probably is the most male aspect of me, right? So, but at the end of the day, she was just stupid cunt, right? You know, like especially since I'm there all the time, and she's one of the regulars. So women are women don't give a fuck about other women. Is basically what that falls into. But see me, I don't correct anyone. I just walked away. You can't start arguing with random strangers about that. That's her opinion. She can say what the fuck she likes. I don't care, right? Well, I do care, but it's not. It's her problem, not mine, right? So I'm not going to get on with you. But most people do that a lot anyway. I don't really care that much. It's just a case of just being a bit more respectful of people. You don't have to follow the whole cult thing and believe all that shit at all, right? But you should just be a bit careful, that's all. And that applies to anyone, right? You know, with ethnicity and disability and everything. You know, like, you see somebody with no legs or something, you don't say, oh, aye, when did you lose your legs, you know? Because it might be that person doesn't want to talk about that particular day. But if they want to talk about the fact how they lost their legs, they might want to share that. It's up to them, and you maybe don't really want to get in that conversation, but that's fine. Right, so thanks for watching. We're just going to ignore that message. I might block them maybe if I feel they're if I'm totally sure they're being narcissistic, but I'm not actually sure at the moment. Bye! Remember to like, share and subscribe. And try not to worry about all that shit.